Hi, I'm Crystal.
And I'm Neoshia, and you're listening to the Rom-Com Detectives.
Welcome to Rom-Com Detectives, episode 47, Good Cop, Bad Fed. Today, Neoshia and I will be talking about the 9th episode of Castle Season 1, Little Girl Lost. This episode originally aired on May 4th, 2009, was written by Elizabeth Davis and directed by John Terlesky. And this is our last Rom-Com Detectives episode of 2025. Yay!
What a way to end the year.
So let's get into the case briefing already. So the victim has a very rhyming name, Angela Candela. No cause of death because this is actually a kidnapping case, not a murder case. The kidnapper turned out to be her mother / her auntie, and the motive was because she wanted to leave her husband. Guest
Dark.
stars, yeah, guest stars. Bailey Chase, he was the most familiar face to me. He played Sorensen. He's from Longmire, Buffy, Saving Grace, and he was actually in the Lucifer pilot episode. Do
Oh,
you
was he?
recognize him?
I don't recognize him from the Lucifer pilot.
I didn't either. I saw Lucifer on his credits and I was like, wait, oh yeah, he does look familiar, but I couldn't remember what episode. But he's Gray Cooper, the actor guy that they go and talk to when like Lucifer and Chloe are tracing down people in their first
Oh,
case.
yeah, right.
They like
Because
met him during like some action scene or something under a freeway.
yeah, and it's like the first time you see Lucifer really use his power because he's like getting this guy to just talk about treating women
Yeah.
in front of his
He's
wife.
like he's like, I want to be the president of the United States. That was his line that I remember.
Yeah, I mean he's a character actor. I mean, I think he's in a lot of things because even though I watched Saving Grace when it was on, and so I definitely knew him from that, he also has a pretty like so Criminal Minds fans know him as somebody who's pretty abhorrent. We do not like him at all. I won't spoil it.
I don't remember. I don't remember. I watched a lot of Criminal Minds too, but I must have purged it from my head. I watched too
So
much content.
he's in 2 season 3 episodes. It's a connected or it's not a connected. That's not what it's called. It's a two-parter. He is the one who shoots Penelope Garcia.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay, yeah. Don't like him then.
Yeah, we don't like him.
Okay, and then there's Judy Reyes. She played Teresa Candela, the mother. She's actually from Scrubs. I
Yeah,
had forgot. I used to watch Scrubs, but it was so long ago. But I was like, oh, maybe that's why she looks so familiar. But she's also in High Potential right now. So,
she is, and she's returning to Scrubs. So they've worked out a deal. I don't know if a deal is a great way to put it, but like she'll be doing both Scrubs and High Potential next season.
oh wow.
And I definitely recognized her. I'd recognize her anywhere. Anywhere she pops up.
Then there's Julian Acosta. He played the dad, Alfred. He's from Madam Secretary, Hand of God, and he's from The Mentalist.
It's the
He's
DA episode, right?
he's in Thin Red Line. He's the
Oh
he's
yeah.
Detective Preciado, the guy that's impotent.
Yeah, the one that they're like, "Oh, were you having an affair?" And it's like plot twist.
Yeah. Then there's Francis Capra. He played the birth father Juan. He's from Veronica Mars. He's been on NCS LA and Bones. And
And
then
Criminal Minds.
oh
Sorry.
yeah. And then
That's
Todd Waring, he's actually incorrectly credited, I think, as Dave Ellers, but his name is Doug Ellers. It's very clearly Doug Ellers in the show.
yes.
Yeah, but he was on he's on a show called Servant, and he was actually on The Guardian with Simon Baker.
Nice.
All right, let's get into the episode breakdown. So I like the opening for this one. Castle arrives at the crime scene with Beckett's coffee of choice and a pastry, and then you could hear the theme song music in the background, right? Like it's like a
Yes.
whistling, but it's like an actual whistling, not just like a tune. So, but So I like this scene because she's irritated about something, and then she reveals that she's mad because she saw the Nikki Heat cover art. And so that makes him realize, hey, only my subscribers get to see that. So he knows that she subscribes to his website. The way that she just looks so caught, and it's not surprising because I mean, going back from to the pilot episode, right? She's a fan of his, so we
Right.
know this about her already. But
It's a
it
pretty big
was,
theme in this episode. It comes up a lot. Like she is a fan of his.
yeah, and I think it's easy to sort of like forget that because of the way that she sees him all the time, and she's always like scolding him, and she's always upset with him, and she's it's easy to forget that she once used to be like a Castle fangirl, basically.
Yeah, because he starts asking her like, "Are you?" Like he starts using all the
You give
different like
usernames, right?
yeah.
Are you a Castle fan? Something, something, something. She claims that it was professional curiosity, but come on, Beckett, that excuse is very thin.
Yeah, she's not in his fan club for professional curiosity.
But she's mad that Nikki Heat is naked, and he claims that she's not naked. She's just holding a gun strategically.
I mean, is this like Planet Terror, like where Rose McGowan had like that huge like machine gun? Like I'm trying to picture like how she
Well,
could be holding a gun strategically and be naked.
she's they show the cover later, right? Isn't she just holding the gun up? It's not even strategically covering her. It's a silhouette, right?
Ah, yeah, that
Unless
makes
this
sense.
was like a early version and they changed it later.
Yeah, I mean, I could see the silhouette thing. That's kind of like the original Charlie's Angels. That's part of the credits. Is there's like the silhouette of the three women, so I could see that being a thing.
I can look at the cover real quick. Typing in naked heat gives me eyeshadow palette.
Uh,
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's a silhouette and she's looks to be lying down naked on top of a typewriter on the what do you call those typewriter things? The things that clack forward. What are those things called?
no idea.
You know what I'm
Like,
talking about, right? The things that have the letters that
yes, I
move
bet I don't know what
forward.
it's called. Yeah.
Yeah, she's lying on top of the letters murder. And her gun is, I don't know, pointed down. Her arm is slanting down. It's not
So
very
she,
strategic. They must be referring to like an older cover or something and they changed it later. But okay, so they go inside and Montgomery has summoned them there urgently. And this scene kind of stuck out to me as being a little off. So he's telling them that a 2-year-old girl is missing, and Beckett is confused because she's a homicide detective. So he's like, yeah, well, the FBI has requested you be on a task force. And it turns out to be Kate's ex boyfriend who had, I guess, transferred to Boston but came back and didn't tell her. And so that becomes like a thing in this episode. But so a couple things like I was like, task force. Why would there be a task force for this missing child? I was just like, I thought task force are specifically for like community danger. You know what I mean? Like somebody who's like say like Red John. Like would there be like a Red John task force? Like I don't, not that like a missing girl is not important, but I just feel like the word task force is just really big, you know? Like the term.
yeah. I mean, like, I think the reason they called it that is because, like, I don't know, like on these different TV shows, like, okay, granted, I know nothing about this in real life, but like, I think on the TV shows, a lot of times what they tend to do when the FBI shows up is they tend to get someone from the local police department,
Uh-huh.
and they typically, I don't know if they always call it a task force. I mean, maybe that was just their way of saying the FBI and NYPD are working together on this, but they usually like have almost this like a coalition almost, right, of
Uh-huh.
the local and the FBI.
I just thought it was funny that like Beckett gets personally requested, but instead he gets like the whole team.
Yeah.
He gets Ryan and Espo, and he gets Castle, he gets everybody.
Yeah, you request one of us, you get us all.
But yeah, so like, I don't know, the way that he was talking about it, like, oh, he was just like, "Oh, I just like pissing off the FBI. That's why I'm doing this," and stuff like that. I don't know, it just didn't really ring true to me. It was kinda weird.
Yeah, and, like, I don't know, this is a kidnapping case, and I don't know, it didn't fit everything else that's going on because it's not like they come in with a particularly rocky relationship with the FBI. Because sometimes,
Mhm.
like, when the FBI shows up, the police are like, "Ugh, the FBI,"
Yeah.
or vice versa even. But, like, I think it didn't really match what was going on with the rest of the story.
I think I probably would've, like, liked it better or accepted it a little easier if, like, she heard somehow that he was back in town and he was working this case, and she wanted to be on the case because it's a missing child, and like with the past case that she had worked with him where it didn't end well, and she wants to work on this one because she wants a better outcome kind of thing. I think I would have preferred something like that rather than Montgomery being like, oh yeah, I want to piss off the FBI, so I'm
Well,
gonna.
I mean, that actually had more to do with Castle, which is a critique I have of the episode later on, because that's really more about him bringing Castle in, right? Like, how he
Mm.
gets Castle in is, "Oh, I just really enjoy pissing off the FBI, and, you do good work,"
Oh yeah, that's
basically.
right, he because Castle said, why am I here?
Yeah, yeah, so it's more about getting Castle in there than Beckett, but I'm gonna save my
Mm.
critique for where it's more appropriate in the episode.
But so we've talked about this in the past where like it just kind of sounds like they give the obvious things to Castle, and this is another episode where I just feel like they really make the actual law enforcement people look pretty stupid just for the sake of Castle being able to be like, I'm a smart guy, I contribute.
Yeah, and that's the critique I was saving, but yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah, yeah. We'll okay. We'll move on and we'll get to it. But so Beckett and Castle go over to talk to the guy, and there's this brief, awkward conversation. And so he gives him the skinny on the case. The girl was abducted from her house. The dad put her in front of the TV and then went into his studio in the next room to go paint. And I guess he likes to listen to loud music, so he didn't hear her getting kidnapped.
Yeah, and apparently her mom was still asleep.
Yeah. Which I can sympathize with because sometimes you need to just sleep in as the mom.
Yeah, yeah, and we kinda learn later on too that, like, even
She's the
though
breadwinner.
yeah, she's the breadwinner, but according to her version of events, basically of how the household works, is that even though he's the painter, he's the stay-at-home parent because he paints, and she's the breadwinner, like, she pretty much still has to take care of her anyway because
Yeah,
he
yeah,
gets into his painting and is, like, zoned in.
yeah. So I thought the case itself presented a good like conversation topic to discuss later. Just about the whole, like I mean, she had. I'm not gonna say that she had like the motive to do what she actually did because she obviously took it way too far. Like she should not have gone to those methods, but just the way that she lays everything out. I mean, it's hard to like cast all the blame on her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, and that's her side of the story too. I mean, obviously, he doesn't know there's anything wrong.
Yeah,
He's just
which is
like,
part of the
"Yeah,
problem.
yeah."
Okay, so they walked him through the scene. There's no bars on the window. So is that like a given? Like, or because it sounded like, because I think the dad said, "Oh, I've been meaning to put bars in the windows, but I haven't gotten to it." But is that like, do you think they rent or they own?
I
Like,
mean,
if
maybe
you,
it sounds like they own, and I mean,
uh,
keeping in mind Castle and Beckett does seem like they're working in a more I mean, they're in Manhattan, so, I mean, it's probably more well-to-do, right?
mm,
More buyers and things like that, so and she's got a great career, so I think they're buyers.
uh, and they said it's ground level, right?
Yeah.
So do people in New York have screens on their windows? They must,
I
right?
Yeah, I mean, I would think so because, like, not every place is air conditioned.
Yeah.
There's a lot of places that are still window air conditioned.
Hmm. I get confused. That's why, because sometimes you see houses where they just open the window and there's nothing there. It just opens to nothing. Yeah, in
Yeah.
Hawaii we have lots of bugs and stuff, so almost every window has screens. So
Yeah, I mean, like, you get a lot of flies and stuff around here. I mean, mosquitoes too, but probably not as bad as Hawaii.
Uh,
given like there's so much water and it's tropical, but like there are bugs here. We don't actually have screens in my apartment now that you mention it.
oh,
Um,
okay.
so like we never open our windows because of that.
At the end of the scene, Sorensen whispers to Kate, "This one will end better." So that hints that something didn't go well with their last case. And then we go to the station, and Beckett's in the elevator with Castle, and he doesn't ask her, but she says that they dated for 6 months. and I like that he was like, "I didn't ask," and she's like, "Yeah, you weren't asking very loudly."
Yeah, I mean, they were standing there so awkwardly in the elevator, right? Like, and she just felt like she had to tell him, like she had to confess.
I liked the dynamic between them though, because I feel like it would have been too early for him to be like outrightly jealous, like so obvious. Like I like that he was just like he gave her space, and he was not like he said, like he's not judgmental and stuff like that. So I like that.
Yeah, he's more curious than judgmental.
Yeah, yeah. Ryan gives him the rundown, and Castle startles jokingly because I guess Ryan's tie is just so loud.
Oh my gosh, it was so gaudy.
It
Like, why did she
was.
buy him that?
And he got it from his girlfriend because they've been together for 2 weeks, and that is such a Ryan thing.
I mean, but like she's the one he's gonna marry because like he's wearing that tie with so much pride, and he did not have to wear that tie, but he put
Okay,
the tie on.
is it Jenny though? I thought he meets Jenny much later, and I thought it's like from like a book or something in a
Oh, was
case,
it? Was Jenny
right?
later? It might be
Isn't
later.
or maybe that was like retroactively. You're right. Yeah. So now I'm wondering, is this Jenny that he's
I
talking
thought it
about?
was Jenny. It might not be Jenny because he doesn't mention her by name, so I'm not sure yet.
Actually, yeah. What I'm thinking about is he had already been dating her for a while, and she was in some guy's dating book or something from like a
Yeah,
long time ago, right?
there's that one, and then there's the one where Laura Prepon guest stars, and she thinks that he's like hooking up with her. She plays an actress who's playing Nikki Heat.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We'll have to remember this and figure out if this was Jenny back then because her taste in ties.
Oh my gosh, and it's a clip-on, and you can tell because it's like so bulky at his neck. I don't know. She set him up.
But yeah, so we learned that Angela was adopted 2 years ago, and then Beckett gets a call that a ransom call came in. So okay, so I'm gonna start with this coat thing. I warned Neosha I was gonna fixate on Beckett's coat because oh my god, for the first like I don't know half of the episode, she's constantly wearing it. She wears it indoors, she wears it outdoors. She doesn't take it off. The most she does is she unbuttons it in one scene, but oh my god, she's just constantly wearing it. What's with
Yeah, I
her
mean,
coat?
it's like it's a part of her outfit, or like it is her outfit in this episode. Because when you mentioned it, I went back and watched to see like what everyone else is wearing in those scenes, and like Castle's wearing a sports coat, or like not a sports coat, but like a just like a regular suit coat, and so Sorensen. So like I don't even think it's that it's cold outside
Yeah,
necessarily.
yeah.
It's just more so I think like was that supposed to be part of her outfit?
I don't know, but it looked like an overcoat, right?
It did, and so I'm wondering if, like, it was supposed to be part of her outfit or if there was something, like, on set maybe where she was supposed to be wearing something else, but then there was, like, a costume mishap, and so then when
Ah,
they started shooting with the coat on, they just left. I don't know.
okay, how about this? Let's pretend that there's a scene that got cut where the coffee that Castle brings to her gets spilled on her shirt, so she has to wear the coat all the time to cover it up.
Which makes sense, but there is, like, a brief break. It's not all in one day, is it?
I don't I don't know. But like I said, there is one scene where she's wearing it open. So I don't
Mhm.
know. Maybe by then she doesn't care. Like, but the only person seeing her is like people she doesn't mind having a spilled coffee thing on. Okay, I'm gonna make that my headcanon for why she's wearing this coat so much. Okay, so they go back to the apartment. The kidnappers want $750,000, and they do have that money. So they start making plans to gather it up. And so when the dad asks, how can we be sure that we're actually going to get her back? The guy Sorensen tells him that they need to hope for the best and have faith. And I was just like, that's really his answer? Like hopes and prayers that they they pay and they get their daughter back? That I was just like, that's some terrible odds from the FBI. I would not be confident in these people at all. Like if like the FBI are helping me, I would want assurances, that they've got people following, they've got surveillance going, and just factual things.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because I think in most TV shows, when they do the kidnapping for ransom thing, it's like, oh, the FBI advises that you never pay. Like, we don't advise that you pay. And this time we actually hear the FBI saying, yeah, go ahead and pay. And
Yeah, like the first thing out of his mouth is, "Do you have the money?"
yeah,
Right?
like, are you planning on paying? But I mean, this next part I think is really interesting in terms of like how he explains it to Castle. Like the next part I think is really interesting in terms of how he, explains this to Castle about, oh, it's about controlling emotions and not about telling them necessarily what they want to hear. And so like I also wonder too, like, because what's weird to me about this part of the story is we do hear about, he and Beckett worked together once before, and that child didn't make it.
Yeah.
And I would expect to hear more about that because it seems to be like really driving Beckett's emotions throughout this episode. But I mean, to me, it seems like, given his experience, it's better to try to control the situation with these meaningless phrases. And the callback, right, to like a couple episodes ago where the victim's daughter, says thoughts or not thoughts and prayers, our hearts go out to you. What does that mean? Right. It's nothing. It's meaningless. Um,
Yeah.
and so I really appreciated that conversation where I think he's being transparent with Castle in terms of, yeah, I mean, I know it's not much, but we got to control the emotions here to try to keep a handle on the situation.
Yeah, but at the same time, I just feel like if I was that parent in that position, I would want like solid reassurances, not let's just hope for the best while you turn over your life savings.
Yeah, and I mean, I also too have to wonder, like, if the FBI is not trained to like not tell them that, at least in this universe, because like I said, this episode kind of works against every other established like TV show, I should just say in general TV canon when it comes to like kidnapping and FBI's involvement. Because like the money thing was a big throw off. Like it threw me off because I'm just like, what do you mean they're gonna pay? You're advising them to pay?
Yeah.
You're not gonna
And not
stop
just
that?
advising them to pay, but like, hey, why don't you start getting the money together? Because they gave them 24 hours, which is already ridiculous. I mean, yeah, I don't know. There's just, I think it's just they needed, for the sake of the episode, they needed this to happen. And so they needed the FBI to just be like, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, and I mean like this is kind of like the first big red flag too that
Because it just plays right into the mom's motive, right? She needs this to happen, so this has to happen in the episode, even though
yeah.
it's probably not.
Yeah, and I mean like for me, because I mean they do mention it like, do you have the money? And they basically tell you that they have exactly that much. It will take exactly 24 hours to get the money. And it's like, okay, very interesting. Continue.
They start asking the usual questions like, "Do you have any enemies?" And the husband brings up a guy named Doug Ellers from the wife's work. I guess she fired him, and he blamed her for losing his kids in the divorce. So they bring him in, and they're talking to him, and then Sorensen doesn't want to let Castle go into interrogation room. And I wanted to note that so I forget what Ryan says to him. He's like, "Come, you can go. You can come watch with us." And he's got another Castle book under his arm, so he's still continuing his Castle reading.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got a new fan in Ryan for
Love
sure.
that. Love that. But Sorensen plays an angry voicemail that Doug left, and he expresses this is like a typical police procedural thing where like they tell them what they're being accused of and they're like, "What? I had no idea that even happened." But yeah, he had no idea about the kidnapping. And then so afterwards in the bullpen, Castle and Sorensen are sparring over Ellers because Castle's like, "Well, it's clear that he didn't do it." And the guy's like, "Well, I want," he just mocks Castle's experience because he's just a novelist. Kate blows up at them, and then she tells Castle to go home, and he tells her to call if you need me, even if it's just to talk. And Beckett
Yeah,
has Beckett has her coat on in the in the station in this scene. I guess maybe the heater's off.
maybe. I don't know, like, because she didn't have any clean clothes at the station.
Yeah.
What I found interesting about this, couple things. First, I mean, it's a really good show of maturity from Castle, because when she does tell him to go home, he goes home. He doesn't really argue the point,
Hmm.
even though he comes back in a little bit, but, like, he doesn't really argue the point.
He
And the
doesn't
other
even look
thing
hurt, right?
no, like, yeah, he's just like, "Okay, I can accept that I should probably go because 'cause I'm not helping here." The other thing is, like, I hate that line when she's like, "Why don't you just drop your pants?" Because I mean, it's obviously what she's getting into, right? It's a measuring contest, and you guys
Yeah.
are both trying to be alpha males, or I think the other one is like, "Why don't you guys just go pee in the corners or something?" Right? She didn't say that, but, like, that's kind of what it suggests, right? And that to me did not seem very Beckett. She seemed stressed out. It didn't seem natural coming out of her mouth. It was just very unnatural to me for her to say
Mm.
that to them. And she's around men all the time. So, like,
Yeah. So Castle goes home and he finds Martha Rogers, life coach, in his office with a client.
yeah, with a name tag, like a name plate and all.
That was a nice one too. I
Yeah.
like the font on that. It was very pretty. But yeah, she's talking to her client. He gets up to leave and thanks him for being so transparent about his writer's block. I love that. Oh my god. This is such a perfect and so like on brand Martha scene. Just the way that like they hint at the things that it's the way that she has such a big mouth, right? I love the way that Martha is written and the way that her scenes are crafted because she's so uniquely presented and she doesn't even have that much, but she's so alive in just these tiny little scenes.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's pretty much she lives in a world where the world is her theater.
But he also like mentions again like her like situation and why she's here. She had all her money stolen by her ex-husband and that's why she lives with Castle. But I think this is the first time we hear that she doesn't know who Castle's father is, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So that's interesting context to add to Castle's background because that becomes really important later. That becomes like a whole storyline. Castle explains that he's at home taking a breather because it's a kidnapping case, and you could tell from like the first time he went into the apartment, the Candela's apartment, that he was really affected by the actual case because he looks genuinely sad and bothered by what's going on because it's a little girl and he loves Alexis and he really feels I think this kind of case is really close to home and like that's apparent too because he's like, "Oh, is Alexis home?" Because I really feel like I need to hug her,
Yeah.
and I love this aspect of Castle because as much as he's like a man child and he's like a womanizer and he's like kind of a jerk sometimes and a self centered jackass, he is still really a really good dad. So that's something that they can always fall back on, and I really like that.
Yeah, no, I definitely because, like, you can tell, like, he just absolutely adores Alexis. She is really, I think, at the center of his world. And I mean, I think that's true for most parents, right? Like, you don't have kids just to like, "Oh, I don't care if they get kidnapped." And so I think this happening and seeing the distress of the parents, I think has had an impact on him.
But so Martha, she dubs her Y sayings as Marthaisms, but she starts talking about family pods, and that gives Castle an idea. But first, he calls Alexis and he gives her a big hug. So Sorensen and Beckett are still at the
Candelas.
Candelas. Oops, yeah, at the Candelas, and she mentions that Doug's alibi checked out, and okay, so they start talking about what happened between them. I guess what happened was
He starts talking about, I wanted to call you, and they start talking about sort of just what didn't work out between them, and yeah, he got transferred to Boston, and she basically was like, "Yeah, I could have gone and, gotten a job with Boston PD, but then what's next? Like, you get transferred to Phoenix, and then you get transferred to here, and, like, I'm supposed to just keep following you."
Yeah,
right?
this guy just gave me like serious, not to like bring the mentalist into this, but he just gave me serious Marcus Pike vibes.
Like, how so?
Just because, like, like the DC thing, he's like, "Oh, come with me." It's just he's just has this very like presumptive, like, "Oh, well, I'm the bigger guy, so I'm gonna go to Boston. You come too, and if I gotta go somewhere else, you come too." It's just very, well, doesn't she get a say kind of thing. He's very he assumes a lot about,
Oh,
uh,
see, you call that Marcus Pike vibes. I call that just being a woman in a relationship with a man vibes. 'Cause it happens, it's so common though. And I mean, like, it happens so often, and I don't know that we always look at it that way, right? Especially if you're in a, serious relationship with someone or even if you're married to them.
well, I just feel like
Um
that's like a married thing, but like they were dating 6 months, like.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm with you. Like, it's not long enough and obviously not serious enough, right? Because if it had been that serious, they would have been talking marriage and, moving. But like, it's just so common to me, like, that's something where, men's careers usually come ahead
Come
of women's
first.
careers.
But this guy, man, I did not
Sometimes,
like him.
yeah, I
I
mean,
mean,
sometimes it
he
makes my
just
jaw hurt.
he just he kisses her, and then Castle walks in on them. But like I mentioned earlier, like he's cool about it. He doesn't really seem to like be like outwardly jealous, and I like that at this point because, yeah, I don't think they're at the point where jealousy would fit. I guess is what I'm saying. Although it was like a nice, pleasant surprise, I guess. I don't know. I guess
I
it's
mean,
for me. It's too early for him to just be like, "Well, why is he kissing you?" kind of thing. I
yeah, I
guess
mean,
I didn't want that kind of drama. I feel like somehow. So I like that he was cool about it. I guess it's because he's focused on the case because he's come back to the apartment because he had an idea from Martha's pod talk. So he tells them that the birth mother would have been given background information on the family, including financials. And like, I was just like, so Sorensen scoffs at this idea. And I was just like, oh my God, this guy is like the worst FBI agent in the Bureau or something. Because I would have thought that if she's adopted, they would have come up with this kind of thing to check as like just like a basic case kind of investigative thing. Like why is he scoffing at this when he should have done that on the first day?
I mean, they also should have looked into both the parents the first day.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, like
but they didn't do it, right? Like, so I mean, like, yeah, for me, I don't know, because Castle's kind of taking a big leap though about the adoption thing. Because there's different ways that these adoptions could happen, and there's no guarantee that she would have seen the financials. So I mean, that is kind of a shot in the dark, but I agree with you, which is like I would have been looking closer as opposed to just standing there, kind of twiddling my thumbs.
and being like, "Can you get the money?"
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if you look into it, like, what is his strategy here? I'm gonna just help you facilitate this drop, and let's hope they give your kid back. It's
Yeah,
just,
and I mean, like, to be fair, this is all in the writing of the episode. Which I mean, everything's always in the writing, right, that we're talking about, but, like, it goes into the point that we were bringing up, like, we started bringing it up a little bit earlier, which is, like, how this episode is crafted to center Castle and make him the smart one,
uh,
because, like, you're really? The FBI didn't think to check into the parents, like, even quietly, right? Like,
yeah,
not
yeah,
not interrogating them, but, like, I mean, we've had so many children abducted who, there's a suspicion that it was the parents, right?
yeah.
Like, so parents are not above suspicion in these cases, and yet you're just here like, "Okay, we'll just tell you everything we'll say everything we were doing in front of the parents, and maybe it could be I don't know, it could be whoever. Just pay them, whatever."
So they do bring in the birth mother and they talk to her and they tell her that, oh, she filed a petition to find out the identity of the adoptive parents, and she like proves to them that, that's not my signature. I didn't turn that in. So next they go talk to the birth father. I guess he just came back from overseas. He's a soldier.
Yeah, he was
And
on the
so,
dock.
yeah. So he runs though, but they catch him. And then while Kate talks to the father, Sorensen and Castle have another verbal sparring session. But then basically what the guy tells Kate is that he got injured in Iraq and he can't have kids anymore. So he just wanted to see his daughter because, at the time when he left, he didn't really think anything of it. He just didn't. He couldn't really have a kid anyway, so he said okay to the adoption thing. But he had no idea she was kidnapped either. So they go and they look into his story and it checks out. So Sorensen still wants him watched, and Kate kind of loses her temper at him. And so this is where she reveals to Castle, not like outright, but she reveals to us basically that the last kidnapping case she worked, the kid didn't make it, which surprises Castle because earlier she had told him we got the guy, but she didn't say that the kid was dead. The kid didn't make it, but so they get another ransom call for the instructions on the drop, and then they make plans for. See, this wasn't yet another thing. They, this guy Sorensen just at every turn is just so disappointing as an FBI agent because he's just like, oh no, they said no cops, but I'm gonna do it. But it's like this guy, his face just screams cop, right?
Right.
And like, okay, so these kidnappers know intimately like how much money these people have. They're gonna know what the parents look like, right? So
Right.
why would they think, oh, there's a dad. He looks nothing like.
Yeah, they don't look anything alike. She does kinda look like her adoptive parents in that you would think, "Oh, this might be their birth child."
But yeah, so I mean, the kidnappers would have known what the two parents look like. So I just feel like this is a really boneheaded move for him to just insist that he do it. Yeah. But
Yeah,
he says there's no way they can send the father because he's too emotional. So that's when Castle volunteers, which again is they're gonna know that Castle's not the dad either.
right, but they at least know he's not a cop.
Yeah, yeah. But here Beckett vouches for him and says he's good under pressure. They prep him to go do the job. She tells him to be careful, and they go to do it. Kate and Sorensen watch from a car. Castle's doing his police radio talk. Like he was doing which episode was it? The one where he was sitting in the car.
Oh, yeah, I can't remember. Like, he starts singing and
It's
yeah.
just the it's just the boy in him. I like when he does stuff like this. But here, when Sorensen is in the car with Kate, he's teasing her and saying, "Oh, if only he knew how big of a fan you really are." He reveals that she once stood in line for an hour to get her book signed by Castle, and how his novels got her through her mother's death. Which I like that little detail slipped in. It's cute.
Yeah, which kinda makes me wonder because I know we get some more backstory later on, like, maybe the next episode even. Um, so I know we get a little bit more backstory about Kate and her mother's death and how that impacted the trajectory of her life, but it almost made me think actually, you know, is he the reason that she is a police detective? Like, is
Mm.
that what sort of threaded that in her mind a little bit, right? Because I would imagine the reason these books helped get her through her mother's death is because her mother died in a gruesome crime that was never solved. And here are these books, which are works of fiction that, they always get tied up in a nice, tidy bow. And so I kind of wonder if he had an impact on her that is unspoken.
I wonder if this works timeline wise. How long ago did her mom die?
And she was in high school, right? Or just in
Yeah,
college?
it was a while ago, right? So, huh.
About 10 years, because I think she's supposed to be mid to late 20s,
Yeah. I remember it was supposed to be she was young, but
which is
didn't
always
have.
funny with these shows because, like, everyone's younger than what is, like,
Yeah.
feasible in real life.
So Ryan and Esposito follow Castle into station. I don't know if it's a bus station or a train station, but they follow him in. He's told to leave the backpack. He had picked up a phone and he was getting texts from with instructions. He's told to leave the backpack, but it turns out that like a bunch of people have the same backpack and they're carrying like stuffed with newspaper, and so it was set up so that they could, in the confusion, they would be able to take the real backpack with the money and get away.
Yeah, which I thought was kind of interesting because even here, they're still not suspecting it's a parent or one of the parents because it was the reason everyone had those backpacks right was because of the performance art. There was like a ad. I can't remember if they said Craigslist or newspaper. Either at this time would have been feasible, but it was for performance art, which is why everyone showed up with those exact
Mhm.
backpacks, which to me points to the dad who's an artist, right?
Yeah.
Um, but even here, nope, we still don't suspect the parents.
So back in the apartment, Castle tells him that he put the phone in the backpack, so they're able to trace. And he had texted Beckett, so they know what the number is. So they're able to trace. Is that how phone traces work?
I don't know.
It works in like this TV show apparently, but they're gonna
I
take
mean,
a little while to triangulate where it is, cell phone towers and stuff like that.
I guess if they like, I guess it kind of makes sense because if he texted Beckett and she got the number, then she could then give the number to whoever does that stuff. And I guess they could use that to track the SIM card because isn't the number attached to the SIM card?
I don't know, but I was just like, don't doesn't like the phone have to be like in use, not
Or at
just
least
on?
turned on.
Yeah, I don't know. I was a little skeptical the tech angle here.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably right. Cause like, I'm trying to think, like, this is
I mean, they do
2009.
kind of crazy things on the Mentalist too. I think the one that I remember is Red John's Friends, where they track a cell phone by the Van Pelt tracks a cell phone to like some motel in Tijuana just based on the cell phone number, and I was just like, huh? Is
I
that
mean,
how?
yeah. I mean, that's the thing though about TV shows, right? They're supposed to be, at least since CSI became a thing in the early 2000s, like they're supposed to kind of be out there when it comes to the forensics and the electronics and hopefully not so far out there that it's beyond believability, but out there enough that it works in the plot.
Castle and Beckett sit in Angela's room, and he wishes he could have done more because I mean I blame this on Sorensen because they've made the drop. They don't have the money. They don't have their daughter. Is he going to offer them more hope and faith?
Yeah, and I mean, this to me is kind of where the mom's plan doesn't make a lot of sense either because what was the plan for getting the child back? Because eventually they were going to get the
Yeah.
child back. And
Because she mentions later, like when she returned, she was going to do the blah, 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 right?
yeah, and so like what was the plan for getting her? Like were they just going to find her in a park by herself or something?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But so Sorensen tells him that they found the kidnappers must have found the phone and removed the batteries as they lost the signal. So
Another
Castle
red flag.
goes
Sorry. Sorry.
Castle goes home and he's just sitting in the dark. It's raining outside. It's very gloomy. But he's looking at photos of the apartment and Alexis comes in and they start talking about the stuffed animals and how she has a favorite one, and this was cute when he threatens to like throw out her stuffed monkey. She like pulls his ear and threatens him. Although it was funny that the ear acting here was kind of bad because
Mhm.
she's like pulling his ear and he's like ow 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 ow, but it's like if you look at it, she's barely touching his ear.
Yeah.
So this gives Castle an idea. He goes back to Angela's room and Beckett's sleeping in there. He tells Beckett that Alexis's stuffed monkey, she had it everywhere, and he points out that Angela has several photos with a stuffed bunny, but the stuffed bunny is not in the apartment. So that's what he was doing. He was looking in her room for the stuffed bunny, and he says that it's not there. He points out that not all babysitters are teenagers and it might be a family member. And I was just like, that is yet another thing, right? Like,
Mhm.
why
Cuz
does it take Castle, the consultant, to point this very obvious thing out?
yeah, cuz also too when the sister does show up to help and talk about the finances cuz she's a CPA, like she even like expresses some animosity towards the husband where
Yeah.
she's like, yeah, like he sells those. I can't remember what she said, but she's criticizing the fact that he's an artist and
Yeah.
doesn't have a real job.
The team arrives at Nina's place, the sister, and she's playing with Angela outside. And I was just like, wait, so she kidnaps her niece and she just plays with her outside? There's literally a task force out looking for this kid. and she's just playing outside. Like, okay, if there's a task force, there's gonna be this kid's face on the news and everything. So I
Mhm,
would think that, you hire you get your sister to take your kid. You have her take her out of the city at least.
mhm. 'Cause I can't remember if this is before or after Amber Alert. I think it's after Amber Alert became a thing. I can't remember what year that became a thing, but, like, um yeah, I mean, so we've been kind of touching on this, but, like, for a kidnapping story, this episode is super sloppy.
Yeah.
Because, like, the fact that they spoke so openly in front of the parents about, like, "Oh, I put a cell phone in the backpack, and we're gonna trace it." Like, they're just telling them, like just saying all these things in front of people, never once suspecting it could be the parents, even, like, again, behind the scenes, like, doing a little digging into them, not coming up with the idea that it could be the adoptive parent, not checking out the other family members. Um,
I
it's
mean,
just
even when they're talking to the sister, right? And they're like, "Oh yeah, she works a lot. She makes all the money." It's like screaming motive right here, right?
Yeah, and I mean, like, it just kinda seems like this episode was purposely structured so that Castle could kinda get the big breakthrough moments
Yeah.
while Beckett and Sorensen are just in the middle of this relationship drama. Like, cause kissing at the house where this kid was kidnapped,
Yeah, in
that
the in
was
someone else's kitchen? What's the
yeah, that was just so wild for me, like, cause I mean, it really is kinda like Beckett and Sorensen are lost in this, like, teenage relationship drama plot with each other. They're the 2 professionals on the case, or supposed to be leading the case, and then Castle's over here just figuring out everything that should have been obvious from the outs
obvious.
yeah,
Yeah, like all these easy things that I feel like are basic kidnapping, even as like armchair like crime people, right? To me, these are like basic things
right.
that I would like if this happened to me in real life, I would expect the FBI to have done all these things within the first like several hours, you know?
Right, right. I mean, they even have a whole reality TV show called The First 48 because, like, that's the statistic, right? Is like first 48,
Yeah, most
you have the
important.
best chances of catching a murderer.
Yeah, a lot is handed to Castle.
Yeah, and it comes through like I mean, I guess it's let's call it character development for the show, right? Because we're getting these like moments about Alexis and this family pod idea and how you're always connected to your family. Getting some of Beckett's background even with the Sorensen guy. So I mean, like we're getting character moments here and getting background info, but again, it's kind of like it almost makes Beckett and Sorensen, who I know we don't really care about him so much, but like for me, it's the Beckett part. It like almost makes her look inept
Yeah,
and
it does.
unprofessional,
Because what is
right?
she doing exactly? And why is she sleeping in the kidnapped girl's room in the first place?
Yeah, like, it's strange.
I don't get it. Yeah. Kate brings Angela home, and only the dad reacts with joy. She's just like not even, the mom is like not even moving. She just looks very like upset and grumpy. And Sorensen is staring her down. She admits to doing it, and this is where she reveals like her whole motive, basically saying that her husband is he's useless. He doesn't even watch the kid when he's supposed to be watching the kid. He doesn't work. He doesn't earn money, and he was gonna get to keep like she didn't want to pay him half of her money and share custody with him. Actually, she
Well,
thought that she would not get custody because she works so much,
yep,
which is rough because yeah, I mean, you can see that happen. She and she points to Doug Eller. She says that, I saw this happen to this guy,
mhm.
and she could see what was going to happen to her. And so like, I don't know, this was tough because like what she did was terrible, and she should not have gone that far, and it wouldn't have worked, honestly. But at the same time, like what she lays out, it just doesn't seem fair.
Yeah, I mean, I think all of her fears are well-founded. What I found interesting too is she notes that she did talk to an attorney,
Mm,
and, I mean, I would hope, right, and this is all fiction again, but I would hope an attorney would never tell her, like, "Hey, why don't you plot this kidnapping and make him look unfit? That way you can get custody." But it seems she did consult with a divorce attorney, right, to understand,
yeah.
like, what her options look like. And I mean, unfortunately, most of her fears are well founded, right? She's the breadwinner. She's going to owe him alimony. He will probably get custody as because I know like people tend to think like, well, moms always get custody because the courts love moms, but that's not true. In fact, it goes the opposite way usually when you
Mm.
have someone who's a woman in a, let's say, professional career, one who makes a lot of money, they're more likely to lose custody because of
Mm.
exactly what she said, which is like, I work too much. And so they're going to give you custody. So I'm going to lose my kid, have to pay you half or have to pay you alimony. Half of that retirement would have been, well, everything she put in retirement for him would be his, probably. But
Yeah.
then she'd have to give half of her retirement that she earned. Um, well, that might not be true in New York. But like my point is just this, right? Like she would have to like lose so much, like so
Yeah.
much. Like,
She was
yeah.
between a rock and a hard place. I felt really bad for her.
And see, I didn't feel so bad for her. I was just like, yeah, she's right. I mean, that's true. She's gonna lose a kid. She's gonna lose the house. She's gonna lose half the stuff. But like, I mean, the reason I didn't feel so bad for her is like because the kidnapping itself and
Mm.
like what that puts people through. Because I mean, the dad is just over here like completely beside himself the whole time, right? Because he's like, I can't believe this happened. Who would want to hurt my daughter? And I mean, the mom's doing a great job acting, like, she's beside herself. But like, he's really beside himself. And I was just reading last week, they just found a little girl, or well, she's a woman now. She'd been missing for over 40 years
Wow.
because her mother, in anticipation of filing for divorce from her father, took off with her when she was a
It's
toddler.
funny because I was just thinking that. I was like, she's got all this money. Like, why not just drain her accounts and take the girl and move to another country?
But I mean, like, you totally have to be, like, very, I think, sophisticated to do something like that, right? Because it like, new identities and the
Yeah.
funny thing is I actually just earlier scrolling through TikTok, someone took a video of this woman that I just mentioned getting arrested, and it was kind of funny because she was like the police show up to arrest her because this was recently, and she's
Oh.
just like, "Oh, haha, you're not here for me, you're here for this other person, right?" And they're like, "Nope, we are here for you." She didn't expect this, right? She didn't expect that 40 years later, she was gonna get found out. I mean, obviously the woman is grown. She had no idea that her mother had run off with her. I don't know what story her mother told her about her other family, but like, I mean, it's a serious thing and it's I think a horrible thing to do to another parent,
Mhm.
especially because it's like again, he didn't know like if she was dead, right? Like
Yeah.
this is a very serious thing. Um
Well, I
and
mean, she does reveal though that she intended to return her daughter, but she just was doing this so that she could keep her money and keep her kid and keep her apartment. But
but
yeah, it's not clear to me how she was going to make that happen, but I think she mentions that that was her intent, right? So,
yeah, but I mean, like, but do you see how that's very like King Solomon in a way? And
yeah.
maybe that's not the best reference, but like these are all financial concerns.
Yeah.
These are all like, well, not the custody part, but like I'm gonna lose my retirement savings, right? I'm gonna have to pay him alimony. Um, this is to her to me, it's just like it's more about the money part of this, right? And it's
Mm,
really typical one parent trying to hurt the other because at the
yeah.
end of the day, that's exactly what she's doing. And by the way, I just wanted to say, like, this scene was so raw because, like, the way that she just goes into that outburst was really good
Mm,
because, like, you can see what's happening in her face, like, 'cause she knows she's caught, right? If they found the girl, she's busted, and he doesn't know yet. But the way that she just lays into him, right? I mean, it's such great acting, but also, like, you can see just how much loathing and hate she has for this man. Um,
yeah.
and also to the planning and preparation that this had to take, right? Like, that was a lot
Yeah. Even though it was sloppy.
sloppy, but I mean, yeah. So, I mean, yeah, to your point, like, I think I have empathy for her, right? And the fact that she's extremely unhappy
To a
in a really
certain
bad
point. I
place.
I do wanna say I felt sorry for her to a certain point.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, I mean, like, I get it, but it's just like, how do you hate someone that much that you're willing to go through these lengths? And now you're going to prison. So you're definitely losing custody and
Yeah,
your
you're
money.
losing everything, so
Yeah.
did not work
And going to
out. I
prison.
guess I guess that's why she looks so grumpy.
Yeah.
So with the case over, we get one more scene with this lovely FBI agent Sorensen, or he tells Kate that he was hoping they could give it another shot, and she's like, "Well, what happens when you move?" And he's like, "Well, you go with me." So he's still, oh god, this guy driving me crazy. Ugh. But he tells her to think about it, and then he leaves, and Castle jumps right into his seat, and he's like telling her, "Oh, I wouldn't have worked out with you two anyway, because he's a male you, and yin needs yang." Not, I like I like that he said this yin yin. He says it's the name of a panda. I
Yeah, that was
like
pretty good.
that. But he invites her for a drink, and she says she has a date. And she won't tell him who it is. But like, do you think she actually had a date, or she's just teasing him?
I think she's teasing him because, like, we know she's not going out with Sorensen tonight,
Yeah.
and I don't think she had other plans that she wouldn't have, like, already canceled because of this kidnapping.
Yeah.
So I think she's just
Yeah.
messing with him.
I think so too.
Doesn't wanna let him know, right, that she's not all in on Sorensen.
Gotta
I mean,
keep him guessing.
yeah, and the thing about, like, him telling her, like, "Oh, then you go with me," like, I guess my thing about that is, how about just saying, "We'll see where we are when that happens," you know? Because like, maybe they could date, and maybe in a year when he gets transferred, they're at a place where it's feasible for her to go with him, and then maybe they're not, right? So, like, the whole idea of, like, going into a relationship knowing that someone could get moved somewhere and like the expectation being like that you go with him. I don't know. We watched rewatched, not for the first time because I've seen the movie before, but we were watching Officer and a Gentleman over the weekend, and like that was the whole thing, right? Like you get with these like Navy guys and they're going to get stationed somewhere and you go with them. And I mean that's just not who Beckett is, right? Beckett, and I
Hmm.
think that's Castle's point is that Beckett is, her own independent force,
Yeah.
right?
Okay, let's move on to our watches. We have very few. Beckett's hair watch. Her it's approaching length and it's sticking out a little more. It's
Yeah,
flared outwards.
yeah, and I think it's redder this week than it was last
It
week.
did, yeah, it did look red. Yeah.
So I kind of wonder, like I know we've talked about this before, but this is just like it makes me so curious, and this is like a little bit beyond Castle, but like it makes me so curious of like certain actresses, especially that have like we wouldn't consider them like traditional European features. Because I don't know if like this has ever come up on here. It's not really appropriate. Like I don't sit around thinking about these things, but like I know like Sonic Haddock has definitely talked about like having a nose job. And in fact, when she was in ER, she guest starred in an episode of ER that was like an incredible episode. And for the life of me, I didn't plan to talk about this, so I didn't look the episode up. It was a really great episode because she's a woman who's in a coma who suddenly wakes up. And it's a really great storyline for one of the characters of that show. But the point is, this was before she had a nose job, right? And so, like, she's very clear about, like, having to have a nose job because, her Eastern European features didn't work for Hollywood. And, she had to get a nose job to get booked for more work. And I kind of wonder the same thing about hair because, like, with darker hair, she looks different than she looks as, her hair lightens over the seasons and gets longer. And so I always just kind of wonder, like, you know, what the hair department was doing and, like, if that was part of the calculation was to make her look, more stereotypically Western European. I don't know. I'm sorry. That was a tangent. Didn't mean to go on a tangent, but things I think about.
Well, I mean, we don't have a lot of rewatch checklists on this unit. I was just joking with Karen that we have so many on the mental list. It's ridiculous. And this one, we just watch her hair grow.
Yeah, we're watching the hair grow, pop culture references.
Ah, yeah, so pop culture references. There's a White Rabbit. Alexis asks, "Oh, Alice in Wonderland or The Matrix?" And then there's a Star Wars mention. And so, can you explain the sunglasses thing to me?
Yeah, so this is actually it's one of my lines for the week. But when Sorensen and Castle are talking, and Sorensen's like, "So why are you shadowing Beckett?" And Castle mentions like because all the ones on TV seem to be obsessed with their sunglasses, and that was a huge, huge, huge deal with CSI Miami in the 2000s around this time. In fact, Brooklyn Nine-Nine even spoofed it, where they have Jake show up with his sunglasses and yeah. So they would always have, and his name is escaping me, David Caruso,
Caruso.
yeah, who played him. They would always have his character say a witty quip, one-liner, right before you roll the credits, and then he would put his sunglasses on after he said it and
Oh,
go right to
yeah.
credits.
So I never watched CSI Miami. I watched the original CSI, but not Miami. So
Yeah, so that was a sunglasses reference.
gotcha. Okay. Bestseller list. My favorite scene I put down is the one where Castle realizes that Beckett subscribes to his website. I like that.
For me, I like the moment between Beckett and Castle in the the child's room, which I know sounds kind
And
of weird, but it's
Angela.
classic. Oh, yeah, Angela's room, sorry. But it was kinda like classic Castle and Beckett figuring things out together.
Yeah. Favorite line. I like. She's not naked. She's holding a gun strategically.
So, I had 2, and one was the Sorensens' "Why the sudden need to shadow a real detective?" And Castle saying, "Well, the ones on TV seem oddly fixated on their sunglasses." And then the other one was, a Marthaism, actually. "Mistakes are the building block of wisdom."
Wise words, Martha. All right, we're gonna come back with a brand new Beckett's interrogation. We'll see how Neosha does. I think there's a jet flying over my house now, so give that a
Never a
bit.
dull moment over there.
I actually so have you seen Donnie Darko?
I haven't, I need to watch it.
Oh, okay. Well, there's this thing incident that happens in that movie that I think about sometimes. Living under a place where planes fly all the time.
Oh. Oh my god, I was just telling my rewatch group last night, like, because they joke because I fall asleep so early. We're all on
Mm.
different time zones, and I fall asleep so early, and they're like, "Haha, are you gonna make it? You're gonna fall asleep to this?" And I'm like, "Well, it's a lot easier falling asleep and waking up to Fringe than it is like this nightmare fuel show on Apple TV that I was not even watching, okay? I fell asleep to something else, and Apple TV just rolled to
Oh
this
yeah, they just play
show.
something else. Yeah. What was it?
Oh, it's that one about the criminals in Alaska. This show, I woke up at the part where it was like a mix of like Con Air, Yellow Jackets, and like Prison Break. It's a gruesome, violent prison break while the airplane's crashing. Insanity. It was crazy, and I'm like, I don't want to
Wait,
watch
okay,
this.
so you gotta tell me what this show is. What is it?
Is it called High Country or something like that?
High
It's on Apple
Country.
TV.
The Last Frontier?
That might be it. Yeah, I think that's it. But like, it was gruesome. I mean, the people were falling out of the plane. Then there was this one guy who clearly orchestrated this as a prison escape, and then when the people went to, like, provide rescue efforts, they started, like, shooting and killing them, and I'm like I'm waking up to this, and I'm like, "What the hell's going on?"
Yeah,
Like,
it's Last
it's too
Frontier.
much. It
Was
was
it the
too
first
much.
episode?
Yes.
Oh, I'm
It
gonna
was
have
too
to
much,
check this
Crystal.
out now. It sounds interesting. I'm gonna check it out now.
I might have enjoyed it more if it was, like, not when I woke something I woke up to, and I'm like, "Well, this is nightmare fuel."
All right, we are back with a new Beckett's interrogation. The way this works is I'm going to ask Neosha 6 questions, and we're going to see how well you guys do. You're going to have 5 seconds to come up with an answer. Question 1. What kind of milk does Castle get Beckett in her coffee?
I wanna say skim milk, but that doesn't seem
Yeah.
it is
Yeah,
skim
that's
milk?
right. It's skim milk. Yeah.
Alright. Playing into 2000s skinny culture, love it.
Skim milk tastes like water to me.
It does, but, this is before, like I mean, obviously, I think we had oat milk and almond milk and all that stuff, but it's before it became really, like,
Mainstream
popular.
and cheaper.
Yeah,
All right. Question 2. How many bestsellers has Castle written at this point?
26.
Oh, very good. Okay, question 3. What is the cell phone during the drop taped to?
Mm. This I don't remember.
It's a mailbox.
Mm. Oh, yeah, because he has to get underneath the blue mailbox. Okay.
Yeah, and you can kind of see the USPS logo on it.
Hmm.
So, how long will it be before like people who people don't know what a mailbox is,
That's a good question.
right? People don't know what payphones are now.
Well, I
It's a
mean, it's
mailbox.
like with Doctor Who, and people have to explain what the phone box is because the doctor travels in a police box, and well, yeah, it's a phone box, and yeah.
You actually brought this up earlier. Where was the backpack ruse posted?
It was either Craigslist or a newspaper. It was on an ad.
It was Craigslist, so I will give you that. Okay, so you're at three points out of four. Doing very good. Okay, question 5. What book is Alexis currently studying in school? This is what I used to tell people was my favorite book in high school, funnily enough.
So it's not like,
She doesn't specifically say the title, I will say that. They talk about it.
yeah, I don't know.
It's The Scarlet Letter. Because she
Oh,
mentions Hester Prynne and he talks about an A.
so
Yeah.
I never read it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
It's kind of dry. It's a Puritan novel, right? So, but
well, Neoshia went to 3 different high schools that year. So
uh,
she missed a lot of those books that she was supposed to read during the American literature year of high school. So,
I don't know. There was something I barely understood it. I had to look up so many words because there was just so many like old words that just we don't know anymore. But I remember I wish I had my original copy because I had to write so much on like the sides of the like the little space on the sides of the pages. Yeah, I had to. It was I don't know that something about the story just really drew me in. I really liked that book. I should
all
look.
I know about it is like she was an adulterer, so she had to wear a red A.
I read A on her front. Yeah. All right. Last question. What is the name of Alexis's stuffed animal that Castle mentions?
It's not Snuggles. I got
It's
nothing.
it's Monkey Bunky.
Monkey Bunky.
So you got 3 out of 6.
All right.
Still good.
I mean, we're doing well here. We're doing well.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I mean, we're failing out of class, but like still, not hitting 0. So,
At least it's not 0. All
right.
right. Any last thoughts?
No, I mean, like I thought this was a pretty good episode. I like the guest cast a lot. Like we were saying, I think the biggest thing is just a little sloppy in terms of the crime plot, but I think it gives us a lot of good character insight.
Yeah. It was a good filler episode. It's just that when you start picking at it, that it starts falling apart kind of a lot. I still think it's like something good to have on in the background when you're like doing other things. Yeah. It's a still a good season 1 episode, but
I think so too, yeah.
yeah.
And I guess I was just gonna add, like, but that's what we do as podcasters, right? We're like, let's watch it and dissect it, and
Yeah.
so then we sit here and pick it apart, and it's like, oh, well, that didn't make sense.
I did like it more than Nanny McDead. I didn't really like Nanny McDead that much.
Yes.
Okay, if you are enjoying Rom-Com Detectives, we hope you'll consider taking a minute to leave us a rating or review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. For our question of the week, leave us a comment on Spotify, YouTube, or Reddit and tell us whether you think Beckett really had a date or if she was just teasing Castle. If you'd like to join additional conversations about Castle, you can visit the Castle subreddit at reddit.com/r/castletv. To contact me and Neoshia, email us at host@romcomdetectives.com. You can follow us on Instagram, Threads, or Blue Sky at romcomdetectives, or leave us a voicemail or text message at 1-650-733-XOXO or 9696. This episode of Rom-Com Detectives was recorded on December 23, 2025. Rom-Com Detectives Castle Unit is co-hosted by Kristen Watanabe and Neoshia Roemer and is produced by Pico's House. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll catch you guys in 2026 for the breakdown of our Castle Season 1 finale, A Death in the Family. Bye, everyone. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everyone.